Okay, so yesterday's lesson, what was that called? That was called two-dimension. We said today we're going to do what? Three-dimensional. So, three-dimensional figures. Okay, so these aren't just flat, are they? They come out at you, all right? They got that third dimension, so they have some depth as well as width and or base and height, or width and length, however you want to call it. Okay, so there's three different dimensions to it. There's width, height, length. Okay, one of the big words they talk about, I don't even think this is all that important. Let me see what they call it. Yeah, one thing they call is a polyhedron, Hedron. Polyhedron or polyhedron, however you want to pronounce it. It says it's a solid, so it's a solid figure. It's not just a flat figure, okay, just that you draw on paper, but it's a solid figure with all flat surfaces that enclose a single region of space. Okay, so you can write that down. It's a solid. It's a solid. Okay, it's a solid object. Put it that way. With all flat surfaces. Okay, so it's a solid object with flat surfaces. That's the important part there. All right, and the flat surfaces are called the face of the polyhedron. And we'll put a picture up here in a second when we start getting into the specific types of polyhedron. All right, so that's the face. And then where the flat surfaces come together, they form a line, right? And those lines are called edges. All right. I guess I could put a picture up here. We'll do it. Oh, I didn't spell that right at all. How about that? That's better, isn't it? All right. So edges, and then the points. You'll have a bunch of points on there, and those points are all called a vertex. All right. So let's put a polyhedron up here. All right. Here's some polyhedrons. Ooh, look at that. There you go, Timmy. You like your pictures now? Not as exciting as you thought they would be, are they? I told you. Of Liberty University. Yeah. When did I say I was going to show those pictures? Oh, I do. I'm talking about these, but I'm talking geometry pictures. I don't know why that. I don't know why that.
Talking math pictures.
Yeah, it's got to be math pictures.
I was like,
All right, I'll double the homework if you start on me, Timmy, and everybody can blame you. Here we go. So these are all polyhedrons. What are they? They're flat surfaces, aren't they? And what's this? I got to get out of the white because you'll never see it. What's this thing right here called? It's one of the flat surfaces, so it's called a face. That would be a face of the polyhedron. These lines are the what of the polyhedron? Edges. And the points, see where the edges come together, is a vertex. Okay, good. All right. So I'll tell you what, let's get rid of all that stuff right there. Good. All right, so those are all basically polyhedrons. If it's not a, let's see, there are things that are not polyhedrons, and I'm giving away all my pictures, and I shouldn't be doing that because, let's do this one. Scooch down a little bit. That right there is not a polyhedron, okay, because they're not all lines, okay? They're not just flat surfaces. This is not a flat surface, okay? This is a curved surface, isn't it? Okay, it's kind of rounded, all right? So this is not a polyhedron because of that reason right there, all right? And what do we call it? We call it not a polyhedron, all right? That's all they do there. We'll get back to that in a second, all right? So that's in the book. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that. Now, let's talk about some specific polyhedrons, and they are these right here that I had earlier. All right, let me scooch over. There we go. And there it is. These are all polyhedrons, but look at them. They're all what? Prisms, right? They're all prisms. If you look at it, a prism has this. It has a base to it. Let's look at this one's probably the easiest one to see. All right, it has a base to it. It's what it's sitting on. All right, so this would be the base. But if you look at it, it's sitting on the base, but look at the top of it. It's exactly the same, isn't it? So on a prism, the bottom and the top are both called bases. So this is a base, and then the top is also called a base. Everybody with me on that? All right, so that's the prism. You've got faces, you've got edges, you got vertices, and all that kind of stuff. But that's really important to understand it's a base. Notice, on a prism, these are all right prisms, I believe. Yep. Look what happens to the base. The height of this thing, this would be the height of the prism right there. It's what to the base of it? Well, what did we talk? We talked about this earlier. Perpendicular. That's right. It's perpendicular. So the height, that would be the height of the prism. This would be the base of the prism. It's perpendicular. You see that? So it goes straight up. If it goes straight up, then it's considered to be a prism. Look, you could have a triangular prism. What's the difference between a triangular prism and a rectangular prism? It's the what? It's the base. Exactly right. Look at the base of this triangular prism. What shape is it? It's a triangle, right? Okay, that's why they called it a triangular prism. That was smart of them, wasn't it? And look at the base of this prism. What kind of shape is it? It's a rectangle, isn't it? So we call it a rectangular prism. A cube, what do you think the base of a cube is? It's a square, exactly right, a square, and that's a cube. Pentagonal prism, the base is a pentagon. Excuse me. And then a hexagonal prism, the base is a hexagon. You could have all, you can have all kinds of different prisms, but every single one of these, look what happens with the base. The sides go straight up, don't they? They don't bend or they don't, over. It's straight up. So these are all called technically triangular right prism, rectangular right prism. Okay, they're all right. Why are they right? Because the height is perpendicular to the base. We good with that? It's pretty easy to see. Well, those are prisms. Prisms. Everybody see that? The next thing are pyramids. All right, let's talk about pyramids this time. Let's write that down. Pyramids. Bang, there we go. A couple pyramids. Oh, those are exactly the same kind of pyramid. Which one do you want to get rid of? That one? Let's get rid of that one. All right, so take a look at this right here. Actually, let's get rid of this one. And let's make it a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, let's take a look. What's the difference between a prism and a pyramid? What happens? Look, you still have a base, don't you? And you could have a triangular pyramid. You could have a octagonal. You could have a hexagonal and pentagonal pyramids. But this is probably a rectangular pyramid, right? So, Brooke, what do you think? It comes to a point, doesn't it? Okay. It doesn't go straight up and down, does it? The sides of this thing. The sides slant, and they slant to one point. Everybody see that? What's that? There's only one base on this one. Exactly right. On the prisms, you had two bases. You had the top and the bottom. But on pyramid, you only have one base, and that's on the bottom. Okay, and it comes to a top. Sometimes they call that top the apex. This book calls it a vertex. All right, but I've seen other places they call it an apex, A-P-E-X. But this book calls the top of this the vertex. All right, but that's a pyramid. You can have all kinds of different bases and all that kind of stuff. Notice the height. The height of the pyramid. It goes from the top and it goes straight down, doesn't it? Perpendicular to the base. Everybody see that? So if this is the base, why are we packing up? It's not time to go. All right, so just wait until the bell rings, then you can pack up. So look, here's the top. It goes straight down right here and is perpendicular to the base. What's another shape? All right, let's take a look at these. I got two things here because we're running out of time. This thing right here is called a cylinder. Cylinder. All right. Look at the bottom. Look at the base. It's kind of like a what? It's kind of like a prism, isn't it? Because it's got a top and a bottom, and they're exactly the same. The sides go straight up. But what happens to be the bottom? It happens to be a what? A circle, okay, instead of a square or triangle or something like that. So that's a cylinder. Okay, very, very similar to a prism, but the bottom is a circle. Look at this thing. It kind of looks like a circle, but it's three-dimensional. What do you think we call this thing? A sphere. It's kind of weird to say, isn't it? S-P-H-E-R-E. So that's a sphere. You got a lot of different equations to find the area and all that stuff. Tell you what. Since I'm such a nice guy. But I'll give you homework on Monday, okay? All right?
So even if Tim started talking, that wouldn't have been
What's that?
Because 2 times 0 is 0.
What did I say?
Said you'll double homework.
Oh, I'll double the homework. That's right. So, yep, doubling 0.
Who left early know homework?
You should, yes.